Nice to have you here. I'll just be going
Good
through
evening,
the...
everyone. Yes, you can go ahead, please.
Yes, thank you very much. All right, I'm sharing already. I'll just be going to the slide mode. Okay, hello again, everyone. Yes, I said hello again because just a couple of hours away ago, we finished the deep dive session. So I know not everyone in that session, not everyone here was there. So I'll just start with introducing the session tonight and welcoming everyone. So welcome once again, everyone, to the Nigeria M365 community of professionals who
Hello?
learn. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sorry to interrupt. It appears the recording has been on for about 42 minutes.
I just started the recording.
Okay, okay. Okay then.
Yeah. All right, thank you very much. Yes. Hello again, everyone. Welcome to tonight's session. We welcome you once again to the Nigeria M365 Community Mentorship Program, organized by the Nigeria Microsoft 365 Community. This is the 2026 edition of the mentorship program. And in the community, we are committed to bringing together learners, professionals alike who would want to upgrade their skills, and also early career switchers who would want to learn a tech skill or two. In the Microsoft 365 community, we are mentoring on the Microsoft 365 stack of tools, talking about Microsoft 365. This is the 4-month intensive Microsoft 365 mentorship program, which will help everyone or beginners to kickstart their digital journey. It's a beginner level mentorship program and it's totally free, brought to you by the Nigerian 365 community. This training welcomes participants from across the globe. In this community program, we will be going through these following technologies: the Microsoft 365 Copilot and Copilot Studio. We'll be learning about Microsoft Entra ID, like we have done before. We'll be learning about Exchange Online. We'll be learning about SharePoint Online, which we will be delving into today. We have learned about Microsoft Teams. We have just concluded with Microsoft Intune sessions, and we will also be learning about Microsoft Defender XDR and Microsoft Purview Compliance. So I welcome you all once again into this mentorship program. Before I move on, I would like to appreciate the community leaders, the founder, and everyone, the mentors, the organizers who have come together to make this program a success. This is the 2026 edition. So in the years past, we have been coming up with these programs, but this year, thanks to our everyone who have made it possible. Yes, we also want to thank Mr. Yomi Aledare that is joining us today. In the years past, he has also made himself available. He has been coming around to show us his skills, to share with us his skills, his experience, his time, and all he has at his disposal with us in this community. So we thank him again. So before I proceed, I would like to introduce myself briefly. My name is Aishat Oshileye. I'm just someone who is passionate, who is excited about technology. I'm just a digital builder, and I love to help individuals and organizations to unlock productivity through Microsoft 365, cloud solutions, and modern workplace technology. My expertise, my focus is mostly on technical support, technical training in Microsoft 365 and Microsoft Azure. I just love turning complex systems into simple, usable solutions. And I will be moving forward into introducing our speaker for tonight, and I am very sure it will be lovely to meet him tonight if you have not met him before. He has been an invaluable asset to the Nigeria M365 community, always coming around to share his experience and his knowledge with us, and we really appreciate him. This is Yomi Aledare, and he is an experienced IT professional with a strong foundation in web development and programming. He later transitioned into software as a service through Microsoft 365 services. He has years of hands-on experience and expertise, and he has designed, deployed, and optimized solutions across the Microsoft ecosystem by helping individuals modernize their workflows and enhancing productivity. He's a Microsoft certified trainer, MCT. Yeah, he has been helping in delivering specialized training in Microsoft SharePoint and Microsoft Excel. He has also been equipping professionals with practical skills to leverage these tools effectively. He's a Microsoft certified expert in Microsoft 365 administration. He provides advanced guidance on tenant management, security, compliance, and collaboration tools. He has also ensured organizations adopt Microsoft 365 in a secure, scalable, and cost-efficient way. His technical expertise spans SharePoint Online administration, OneDrive, and advanced Excel analytics. This makes him a trusted advisor for digital transformation initiatives. Everyone, please use every of your sweet emojis at your disposal to welcome and appreciate our speaker for tonight, our mentor, Mr. Yomi Aledare. Please appreciate him as we welcome him into the session. But before I give him the mic, I will quickly want to run us through some few housekeeping rules. This session will be recorded and will be made available for future viewing. Please have your mics muted, though they have been muted already, but if you have any questions, you can just raise your hands or keep them raised or pen down those questions in the till the Q&A session. You can also leave them in the chat area as well. Yes, be a community person. Follow our community socials, just search for NG M365 on Twitter or X. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can find it just by using the search area Nigeria M365 Community, or by using this link on the screen, or you could just follow us on LinkedIn. Our LinkedIn page is always available to give notifications or keep you updated on all our community programs. We have our Discord server as well. We'll be sharing that link. So endeavor to join. And as you join our pages and our socials, please engage with our content, share, like them, and also don't forget to tell a friend about us. Thank you very much, Mr. Yomi Aledare. You have the mic right now. Welcome once again.
Good evening, everyone. Please confirm you can hear me loud and clear.
Yes, you are audible.
Thank you very much, Madam Aisha, for that wonderful introduction. Nobody should ask me why I was smiling, please. Good evening, everyone, and the program has been going on for quite a while now, and I believe we've had been impacted by various mentors with impactful knowledge in the Microsoft 365 space. So I will be your, like I call myself now, your driver in SharePoint for just this weekend to today and tomorrow. So I will be discussing SharePoint workspace or workload, and I would like to hear from us what our experiences are as regards to SharePoint. And anybody who has used SharePoint before, just drop a reaction. You have used SharePoint before, drop a reaction. Okay, just one. You don't need to Put your emoji. So 1% of so just assume that SharePoint is new to every one of us. So which is fine. The course has been designed that way. So I'll just go ahead and share my screen so that we don't delay this any further. Please let me know if you can see my screen. Just drop a thumbs up. You can see my screen. Okay, thank you. So we are going to be looking at SharePoint Online, and we're going to be looking at it at the fundamental level. And my name again has been introduced. So I'll skip all of that about me. I'll just go straight to the training plan so that we can manage our time. So this training plan is for tomorrow. The 1 hour lab is going to be 1 hour 30-minute lab tomorrow. But today we're going to spend at least an hour and then another 30 minutes for Q&A, looking at the time that we have. So we are going to be discussing SharePoint Online, trying to give us like a technical background about what SharePoint is all about and its core features. And then once that is done, we'll look at take some questions or contributions if there are any. So tomorrow will entirely be a lab session. So why this approach is because of the duration of the session and also the level of the audience. So that's why I'm going to spend more time today to say a lot of things about SharePoint. The goal is just to give us like to help us to have like a background understanding, okay, so that by the time we start navigating, it gives us a clearer picture. So what's our objective? Everyone is expected, everyone who is in this class or this training, at the end of the SharePoint training, we are going to have a clear and good grasp of SharePoint core features and capabilities and what they do, and also how to navigate sites, lists, and libraries. Okay, SharePoint is more than this, but we will limit ourselves to this area. So at the end, so by tomorrow or by Monday, you should be able to know what SharePoint is and how it positions itself in the Microsoft 365 environment. So for we have I've designed 2 modules for this training, and they are not structured into days, but we just have 2 modules. And we'll look at the first module today, and if time permits, we'll look at the second module as well. I hope I'll be able to cover that as well so that we'll have more time to demonstrate on the lab. Okay, so we're going to cover what SharePoint is, the different SharePoint offerings, key features, benefits, SharePoint versus OneDrive, look at their distinctions, license requirements, how this is set up, and also how to navigate the interface. So quickly, without wasting much of our time, what is Microsoft SharePoint? I'll tell you that when I had my first encounter with SharePoint, I was like, What are they sharing? And what is the point doing there? It was so confusing. Okay, it was so confusing. And over time, well, I was able to understand it. Some of us who are familiar with WordPress or website development, you have the what is that called again? The portal, right, where you do all the magic and then it shows on the front facing side where you add the colors, the image, the text, and then all of that, and then it shows on the main site. Okay, and that all of that stores on a database. Okay, so from that we can get a clue about what SharePoint really is. Let me drag this to the corner. I think I will need this guy. Doesn't allow me to resize. Let me see. Toggle this off. I think we can use that. So let's have this here. Just trying to organize my screen. Okay, so what is SharePoint? SharePoint is a website, but it's a private website. And when we say SharePoint is a website, it simply means that it is accessible on the internet. Now, if we want to break that, take it down further, we can say SharePoint is a web application. Okay, a web application that is not accessible on the global internet. Okay, so it's not accessible on the global internet. You can't just go to Google and type sharepoint.com. That's not how it works. So SharePoint is a web application. Okay, then secondly, it is accessible by only authorized users. So it's not available on the global internet, but accessible by authorized users. And that is one thing that SharePoint prides itself with, okay, which is permissions. And the permission is so granular in the sense that you can have somebody, I'm not seeing our names here, but Ubon can have access to a dot in SharePoint, and Jude will not see the dot. Talk more of even having access to it. Okay, so SharePoint is a web application that is designed by Microsoft, hosted on a server, and is accessible only by authorized, authenticated, and users based on their access level. Okay, based on their, and it feeds them data or pages, serves them pages based on their access level. Okay, so SharePoint is not a public facing site, so it's not accessible on the global internet. Okay, of course, because it's a web app, you need a web browser to access SharePoint. Okay, and it's not all browsers that are supported, like Internet Explorer is no longer supported to access SharePoint, and other, I don't think we have any other old browsers. Most browsers today are new, like what is that called? Braze. Is it Brave? Remind me. So you have Brave, you have Firefox, Chrome and Edge, and other browsers that you have today, you can access SharePoint from any of these browsers. Okay. Now let's look at some other functionality as regards SharePoint. SharePoint is a Microsoft product. That means it's not open source. Okay, and there are persons that actually designs or work on it. Then I also need to. I don't like this guy. Does he have? Allow me to draw. So let's say we have these are websites or web app that serves SharePoint. The data is coming from a backend, which I'll mention the backend. And then this backend data is being served by an application. So SharePoint currently uses AXPX. AXPX is a C# C# for web development. Then using JavaScript and pardon my, I don't know, my mouse is not moving freely. So is the web pages are being served by these core technologies, and they are being served based on data from a database. And this database is my SQL server. Okay, so of course this will be what? This will be very wrong. So what is the correct database? Anybody can just guess. So this is wrong. Okay. Has anybody dropped the answer on the chat? I said it's wrong. So SharePoint, Oracle, SharePoint is a Microsoft tool, and Microsoft also has its own database, which is what? Thank you, Victoria. Don't worry. After the class, I will order pizza for you. So Microsoft has what is called Microsoft SQL Server. Okay. So the Microsoft SQL Server is a database. That's where your SharePoint data comes from. So by the time we start navigating SharePoint, everything that you see, the text, the files, every single thing that you see resides here. Okay, resides in the database, and they are being served on your SharePoint web page. Okay, so that's that about SharePoint. So with SharePoint, you can create and manage websites by building SharePoint sites, creating pages, document libraries, and lists. You can store, organize, and share information across the internal or external users. You can collaborate on projects where you have team members working whether within or outside the organization. It allows you to integrate workflows, forms and lists, and you can also sync the documents and access them anywhere. Then it has what is called a real-time analytics that allows you to see what's happening in your content. Maybe somebody accessed it, somebody deleted it, it provides some hints. Okay, now let's look at the key capabilities or features. SharePoint is an internet site. Okay, so when I say internet, that means it exists for an internal organization, not the public internet. And every content is actually a web part. Okay, SharePoint for a SharePoint site is a collection of web parts, which we're going to look at as we go along. With SharePoint, you can carry out secure sharing, okay, where you can give claimants access to a file, but deny Victoria access to the same file. Okay, if I'm making sense up to this point, please drop your emoji. Are we here? Now, well, I've mentioned, I've been able to define SharePoint Online. I hope I'm not too slow. In my previous class, I was very fast, and I got the feedback that I was running like I was being chased. so I'm trying to take it slow. If you are a Chelsea fan or a Man U fan and you're not in my class, okay, let me not complete it. Okay, difference between SharePoint Online and SharePoint on-premise. So when we say SharePoint Online, which is what we are discussing, which is our core discussion today, and we had what is, or we still have though, we have what is called SharePoint on-premise. Okay, so we want to see what are their, of course, their similarities is that they are both SharePoint applications. Now, how are they different? One is hosting. Okay, I said it's a web application, so of course it has to be hosted. So in terms of hosting, SharePoint Online is hosted on Microsoft's cloud, and that's why a SharePoint Online site usually has maybe company name, company name dot SharePoint .com. Okay, so that's because it's hosted on Microsoft's cloud. Why the SharePoint on-premise is installed on your own server, like a physical laptop or physical PC, okay, that is connected to the internet, and it allows you to what is that word now? Okay, so it allows you to set up your own custom domain names. Instead of using, of course, you can't use this because it's not hosted on Microsoft. So you can set up your own, maybe Zenith prime.com. Okay, so that's your own SharePoint name. Because it's on-premise, you have the option of setting up or having a custom name. Now, a little discussion on this is that, we mentioned that SharePoint uses Microsoft SQL Server, right? So that means on your own server, you're going to install Microsoft SQL Server. You're going to enable IIS and make sure you have what is that? runtime, just make sure you have C# installed, okay? And then you can now install the SharePoint application, and then you can now configure, to have specific features. So that means that when it comes to maintenance of the on-premise, you need expertise, okay? People who understand Microsoft SQL Server will be part of your team. People understand, web development using C# will be part of your team. People understand DNS, be part of your team. Then you also need people who understand security as well, to be part of your team. So you have, okay, so the maintenance is a lot, but SharePoint Online, you don't bother yourself with that. So because it's managed by Microsoft. Customization, on-premise, you can customize it. Okay, you can, like I said, like the domain, okay. SharePoint Online, you can't, whatever domain you have been given .sharepoint.com, that's what it is. Okay. But for the on-premise, you can register the domain name and map it to your site. So, and then there are other things also that you can customize. But SharePoint Online, they are limited customer. Even now, SharePoint Online with the modern experience has become even more difficult to customize compared to 5 years ago. Data storage. SharePoint Online has a limited storage, usually based on the licenses that you have. And there is a cap, which is 25 TB. But on-premise is as you want. You are the one that owns the server. Put any storage that you want, and you're good. Then control. On-premise, you have more control. And in terms of costs, I think the on-premise is expensive to install and manage. By the time you are spinning the server, I've bought a SharePoint Online subscription, created a site, added users. You have not finished setting up your SharePoint server. Okay. Now we have another difference, another distinction that we need to draw a line. When you hear SharePoint, you also get to hear OneDrive. SharePoint, OneDrive. Are there similarities? Yes. It allows you to host files. Okay. SharePoint provides document library for hosting files. OneDrive is entirely a what other is web app designed for hosting files only, not sites or any other thing. Okay. And in this case, we have what is called OneDrive for Business, OFB. Okay. So OneDrive for Business. So we're not discussing about when we talk about OneDrive versus SharePoint. It's not about personal OneDrive. It's about the business OneDrive, and it's designed. OneDrive designed basically for users, okay, personal, to store their personal files, and that's why there are limited access to who can access or who can be able to read users' OneDrive. SharePoint, on the other hand, is designed with shared storage in mind. It's designed with collaboration in mind. It's designed with automation and flows in mind. Okay, so it allows you to, of course, collaborate on files, but across different groups. Another thing that you need to understand is that SharePoint houses your OneDrive service. So it means that you cannot have OneDrive without SharePoint. You cannot have OneDrive without SharePoint. You cannot have OneDrive without SharePoint. When you open Microsoft Word on your browser or Excel or whatever on your browser, you are using the OneDrive service to host those personal files. These same personal files could be created as shared documents in SharePoint. So we have a question here. Should I save to OneDrive or SharePoint? There's no straightforward answer to that. It's usually depending on what's the nature of that file. Is it your personal file, like your 5-year plan for when you leave this organization, or what is that again? Your milestones, personal milestone or study plans. Okay, so those are personal details. So for such type of data or file or document, you want to store them in OneDrive. Okay, what you have, what about if you have a breakdown of brainstorming session? Of course, that should be in SharePoint because you have several users contributing, to the discussion. When should I use SharePoint or OneDrive? So based on what I have said, if the documents require collaboration, the recommendation is to use SharePoint. Or the document is all about you, the recommendation is to use OneDrive. I'll give you a scenario. Let me see. Who should I pick? That is my icon. So Babatunde shared a file with Shegun, and Babatunde have left the organization. So it's a OneDrive. Okay, let me start by saying Babatunde stored the file, created a file in OneDrive, and then shared it with Shegun. And then Mercy created a file in SharePoint and shared the file with Shegun. Now, when Mercy or Babatunde, okay, Babatunde and Mercy decided to japa and their accounts were disabled. So what happens? Their service will no longer be active. So after a period of 30 days, Shegun will not be able to access which of these users want shared file. The answer is Babatunde's documents, because Babatunde stored the file in his OneDrive. So even though Mercy has also left, or because the file was stored in SharePoint, Shegun will continue to have access to the file without even knowing if Mark, kneel down and beg the network to save your soul. So that you can follow along. So what happens is that at the end of the day, if that document that Shegun was working on that was shared with him by Babatunde is very important, and the IT admin did not quickly act on it to recover the document before the provision, before the document is finally deleted, Shegun will lose access to the file and it will be getting 404 error. At that stage, nothing can be done. The file is gone. Okay? So that's another thing that you also need to take note of when you ask the question, should I use OneDrive or SharePoint? I remember somebody that was doing a training, just like what we are doing now, and recording the meeting. But in recording the meeting, he used a different account. Like instead of using his M365, let's say this Nigeria Community account, he used his like his work account, and then he left the organization. So what happens? All of the recording that we have been having in the past of the time of this training would have been deleted, and there is nothing that can be done because the recording was stored in OneDrive and the user have left the organization. And of course, they have removed his or her license or even deleted the user. Okay, now I don't want to flog that beyond that, but I believe I've been able to convince us that SharePoint and OneDrive are not the same. Now, when we talk about the SharePoint online, okay, because we're not doing on-premise, we're using online, we require a subscription to be able to use the service. So what are our options? So we have what we call standalone plans on the left. We have what is called included plans. That is, when you get any of these plans, SharePoint and OneDrive automatically comes with it. Most times in any of these plans, you don't see OneDrive. What you see is SharePoint. Okay. What you see is SharePoint. So standalone plans, you have OneDrive plan 1, SharePoint plan 1, OneDrive plan 1, SharePoint plan 2. So if you look at this line here, okay, you see that there's a divide. So what that means is that all of these plans, business basic, business standard, premium, the A1 plans, they all have this standalone plan included within them. Why, if a user is using E3, E5, or any of these, they have the plan 2 included within them. So what's the difference between a plan 1 and plan 2? The simple answer is just storage. While you are using a plan 1, you have access to, it's my one, you have access to 1 terabyte. Okay, you have access to 1 terabyte of, I hope this looks like so you have access to 1 terabyte of storage for a plan 1 OneDrive, so a personal user. But if you are in a plan 2, you can go as high as 25 terabytes of storage. This is not at once. You progress, you exhaust the 1 terabyte, and you're upgraded to 5 terabytes. When you exhaust the 5 terabytes, then you're upgraded to the 25 terabytes. Okay, so that's how that works. Then I think I need to show us. So I haven't discussed that on OneDrive. let's look at SharePoint plan and how it works. So the question is, how does Microsoft calculate the SharePoint storage for a tenant? You know, unlike OneDrive, it's personal to each user, but SharePoint, okay, the storage is shared. So if you have 100 users, the 100 users will be using the entire SharePoint storage. So how does this even work? Okay, how does this work? So you have a pool and everybody is taking from it. So I'll take 10 gig, 5 gig, 2 gig, 7 gig as they are creating sites and adding document or data, okay, until you have this small space left. Okay, if you look at my admin portal, it says I have used 100 MB. Wow, out of 1.24 terabytes. So how did SharePoint calculate? How did I arrive at 1.24 terabytes? So let's look at that quickly. So for SharePoint, okay, this is SharePoint. So for SharePoint, you have what is called the allocated or tenant allocated. So by default, you have 1 terabyte of SharePoint storage. Okay, you have 1 terabyte of SharePoint storage. Then you now have, okay, sorry, not times. They now have plus number of users. Okay, number of users assigned with any of these plans. Okay, any of these plans times 10 GB. So if you have 100 users with business basic, what that means is that you have 100 times 10. It's my mouse. Come on, be free. That gives you 1000 GB, I think. So that means this tenant will end up having 2 terabytes, if I'm correct. Yeah, 1000 GB. So the tenant will end up having 2 terabytes of storage. So if you go to a SharePoint and you see that they have 4 terabytes, it means that they have users contributing to 3 terabytes of additional storage, while they have been allocated 1 terabyte. There's nothing you can do about that. You can't bribe Bill Gates, or you're going to be tweeting on X that you should increase your storage. You are always giving across, even if you are a government organization, across your tenancy, you are giving 1 terabyte. So if you want more, it's determined by the number of users that you have. Okay. Then lastly, is we have what is called, somebody say, this calculation is too confusing. I just need data. I just need extra storage. I don't want all this explanation. We have what is called the SharePoint. Sorry, not SharePoint. We have what is called the extra file storage. Extra file storage is an add-on. Okay, so add-on means that you first need to meet the license requirements. That means you need to already have SharePoint plan. in your tenants. Okay, so we have what's called the extra file storage, and what other put this now? It's rated in one. Is the seat count is in 1 terabyte. So if you get 10, you have automatically added 10 GB to your SharePoint. If you get 1,000, you have automatically added 1 terabyte of storage to your SharePoint. So if you go to an organization and they have just 2 users, but they have 6 terabytes of SharePoint storage, what that means is that they bought maybe 5,800 and what? 880 extra file storage count, because these two will give them 20 GB. Okay, I hope I'm making sense, guys. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so we have a quick, yeah, it's nice. So we have a quick demo on the SharePoint environment, OneDrive, all of that. So let's quickly look at that. So from your admin portal, we have the option to manage the SharePoint sites, documents, lists, permissions, and also your OneDrive sites as well by going to the SharePoint admin. Okay, so in case you don't see it, you might have to click on show all. I think okay, so you click on show all, then it shows everything. Then click on SharePoint. And you will notice that once this opens, you see my URL. My URL, this shows that I'm on the admin page. That's why you have this admin. Okay. But let's go to a particular SharePoint homepage for this site. So I'll just click on this 3 dots. My SharePoint is not here, so I'll go to more apps. More apps. It's not here. Where's my SharePoint? I have to open everything. Tenants. I can't see SharePoint. Who has seen it? What did I do? Did I? Maybe I've hidden it. I might have done some. So I use this tenant for training. So I think I've done something. I've done something to hide it, kind of, suppose. Let me just undo it quickly. Okay, so you can see. Is it saving? Is it saved? I don't think so. I think it's done now. So previously I had configured SharePoint to be hidden. So that's why I don't know, this is not even responding. The page is it's not responding. I needed to let me just take us to the page by just using the URL. So that's the page I'm trying to open here. It's not ready yet. So if you look at this, you can see that this is the tenant's name, or in tenant's initial domain rather, and you can see sharepoint.com. Okay. Now, if you type this on your end, it will ask you to sign in. That's because this is not a public website. It requires authentication before you can access this. Okay. And then another interesting thing about this is that this is your how do I put this? It's your root site. Okay, so I think let me not go to that because that will be in the next PowerPoint slide. So let's look at the activities. Log into Microsoft 365. Because of our time, I believe we are familiar with that. They're using the app launcher to navigate to OneDrive and SharePoint. Currently, our app launcher does not show SharePoint because it did something, but you can see OneDrive. So we can open that and review the Microsoft 365 settings that affect sharing. So on my admin portal, if I go to settings, where is that? Settings. I go to org settings. If I scroll down, you see what is called sharing settings. You see it before me. Yeah, that's it. So it's SharePoint and external sharing. Okay, so that opens. Currently, it says that anyone. So it means that with this setting, users can share files with anyone without asking them to sign in. Okay, so how do you get here? You go to settings on the admin panel, settings, org settings. You open the services page. You scroll down to SharePoint, and then you can see what the settings are. Now, this setting here, you can see it says advanced external sharing should go to the SHM center. So on the SHM admin portal, if I go to where is that? Where is policies and sharing? I'll see here that it's set to anyone. Okay, it says to anyone. So, which is the most permissive. So if I set this to new and existing, yeah, let me leave it existing guest, and I save, it's going to affect what we can do here. So let's see how true that is. I think this is saved, yeah. So let's go back to SharePoint. Okay, so we can see we have automatically selected for us existing guests only. So set to anyone and save. Okay, let's come back here and refresh. Okay, can you see that this has changed? Okay, so the point I'm making here about regarding the Microsoft 365 settings that affect sharing is that when you want to share a file, you can't do outside what this permits. If it's set to only share with people in your organization, there's nothing you can do. Okay, for instance, when you do this, nobody can share file, even the CEO or anybody, nobody can share file with external persons, to tell you that it's not allowed. Okay, for instance, this OneDrive, if let's do this here, so it affects OneDrive as well. I think I'm supposed to check the setting first before changing it. It's just a file. I have a lot of person access. If I go to the link settings, so I can see it says people in yesterday. So I don't see option to share with external person. Let's try this. Yeah, people you choose. Let's share this file with Bill Gates. What is his email address? billgates@whatever.com. So what happens? It says you can only share within your organization. Okay, where is that coming from? This setting here. Okay, so why this line is for SharePoint, this line is for OneDrive. Currently, if I pull this up, it will allow me to share to OneDrive, but I can't go up. You know, I told her that SharePoint houses OneDrive, so I can't go up beyond what is that? What SharePoint permits. So if SharePoint is here, come on, SharePoint is here, then this guy cannot go to this point. I don't know if you can see my marker. Let me get my highlighter. Where is that? Now that I'm sharing my screen, where is that highlighter again? Let's see. Windows. Yeah. Okay, so you can see I can't get here. Okay, because SharePoint is here. Okay, but you can go down and back, but you can't go beyond. Okay, that's because SharePoint houses your OneDrive. So what does this mean? It means that users in OneDrive can share with new and existing guests, but not anyone. The same thing applies to SharePoint. But I can say, okay, SharePoint, as long as the file is in SharePoint, you can share with anyone. But if it's a personal file, like the file is in OneDrive, it can only be shared with people within the organization. Okay, so so basically that's what happens in the sharing settings. Then let's look at the subscription details for SharePoint and OneDrive. So let's go to this users. Those. I'm not even reading what it's saying. Okay. So let's go here. Let's go to view account, I think. So we go to view account, and then we'll go to subscription. I'm on the right page. I do not see subscription name. I'm on the new. Sorry. Take me back for now. Let's go back to something more familiar. This has not changed. Where's my? Okay. So let's go through this with another approach. So let's go to the 365 page. Let's go to apps. Come on. I'm not seeing my app. Let's go to this install page. Then let's go to subscriptions. So from here we can see the plans. So what SharePoint do I have? Let's SharePoint. Let's do a find. Okay, so right here we go. I have SharePoint plan 2. Okay, so that is how you get to see the plan. Delve. Log into OneDrive. I've done that. Upload files. How do we upload files? Sync OneDrive to PC. I'm not doing that. So if I go to my files, let's put something here. So let's just, so you could decide to upload, or you could have any file. Yeah. Let me go to my download. Should have some files. So let's bring in this and this. Okay. So that's how you upload files in OneDrive. Okay, so you go to your My Files. The Home tab gives you most times recently accessed. Okay, so you're gonna access this file, documents. Then My Files. That's where you get to see all the files in your OneDrive. Shared. You get to see files that were shared with you, or the ones you shared. So that means these are all the things I've shared, or this user I've shared. Favorites, okay, maybe if you go to My File and you click any of these stars, okay, so that map them to your favorite. So you see them here. Recycle bin, you look at that later on. Okay. So I think that's that. So let's take question. Question time. Let's post in our question, please. We have discussed a lot about SharePoint and the various offerings. So we want to see the second part. I want to take question on this first part before we look at the second part. So let's ask our question. Drop your question in the chat, and then I'll answer that. So let's drop our question. Let's drop our question, guys. Question on SharePoint.
Hey guys, you can come forward with your questions. Thank you very much, Yomi. One person has their hand raised here, Udo, right? Let me allow your mic so that you can ask questions. Their mics are disabled. That's why you might not be able to unmute until I enable their mics, unless, of course, you want to drop your question in the chats. So Udo has his hands raised. You can ask your question.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Yomi. Thanks for your presentation.
Good evening.
Confirm you can hear me, please.
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So please, my questions, there are questions, but I'll just streamline to maybe two. One is, if you are moving a file from OneDrive to SharePoint, assuming you have some like a whole lot of files, like maybe let's say up to 500 MB or more, or perhaps let's say gigs. If you are on OneDrive and you go to your maybe a folder, move it to maybe there's already a SharePoint site you already created, or a group company, a SharePoint site that's created for maybe a particular group of persons or maybe a department or something. So my question is, if you click on move and perhaps you click on move and you don't have a network, or maybe you shut down the system, and that file maybe you're supposed to maybe move within 5 minutes or 10 minutes or maybe more. if you shut down a system or you go out of network, can that file be moved at back end, like behind, without the network, the internet on your system?
The answer is no.
That's one. Okay, thank you. Two is it a default that users on SharePoint can delete their files, or is it being can it be, or is it that users on SharePoint, you won't be able to delete any files you put there as soon as you move from OneDrive to SharePoint?
The second question, you kind of broke, so I didn't get it.
I said, data.
Hi.
Hello?
We
Can you hear me?
can't hear you. Looks like you're breaking.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Hello? Okay, Yomi,
Hello,
can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yes, sir. Okay, thanks. I said the second question is it by default when you create a SharePoint site, the only that mean the owner of the SharePoint site that can delete files on it? Other users, they can't delete. Like from the back end, yeah, is it a default that you enable it, or sorry, at default you can delete files on it, or is the admin that used to enact that particular restriction that users can delete files from their SharePoint?
Yeah, so the experience for users is as defined by the admin. So there is nothing like default when it comes to SharePoint. It's what the admin wants you to do that you'll be able to do. So if you cannot delete, it means that the admin does not want you to delete. Okay? If you cannot edit and you can read, it means that the admin does not want you to edit. So it's not like maybe that's like a default permission and that's why you can't do it. Somebody should give you that bubble. It means that the person does not want you to delete or the person does not want you to edit. So there's nothing like default permission. Once you're added to a site, you are added with either edit, visitor, which is read, access, and then you have custom permissions like to be able to edit but not delete. And then you have other permissions as well to be able to maybe edit but not print, depends. So whatever you have been given is basically the handwriting of the admin or whoever gave you access.
Okay, thank you. Then the last one is for the SharePoint drive now. For maybe a SharePoint drive site, sorry, is created for maybe a department. At creation, sorry, maybe I missed the step when you were illustrating it. At creation, is it that mean that allots the size for that SharePoint site so that the department will have a limit to what they say they have, for maybe they have like maybe over 50 persons or more than that on that? Does it because you made mention that as you finish, when you exhaust 1 terabyte, you increase to 5, then to 25 terabyte. So is this synonymous to people like creating in an organization that have, okay, let me say over 20,000 staff, then maybe each department have a specific number of staff and they want all of them to put files in the same place? Do they allot a specific number, like a size to that particular SharePoint site when you create it? Because what I'm asking is, I can decide to create for my own unit, my own team. Behind the scene, like at the administration end, are they the one that decide what's the size I will have for the one I created for my team?
Okay, so the answer to your question is based on what the admin has configured. So we have what is called automatic and manual storage assignments for sites. So on the SharePoint admin, if you can still see my screen, on the SharePoint admin, if you go to your to go to your settings. So while we're taking the question, please clock in your attendance. So on the SharePoint admin, if you go to settings, you see something that has about automatic, where is it? Site storage limits. Okay. So this is what determines what happens. So if it's set to automatic, it means that each site gets to use any level of any storage that they want. If it's set to manual, then you need to now say, okay, this site you can only use 10 terabytes. This site you can only use 5 terabytes. If this is not configured, then that scenario will not play. So it depends on what has been configured here. If it's configured to manual, then all the sites will have the option to be limited to a particular maximum storage. If it's set to automatic, it means that all the sites have a free for all they can use as they please.
So if it's manual, can they manually, when it exists that side, the particular size, can it be the storage be increased back in?
If it's manual, you have the option to give the storage, give it a particular storage, a maximum storage. Maximum storage is 25 terabytes. So if you have, your tenant has 2 terabytes of storage, for instance, it means that that is what you are limited to use. So you either give a site 2 terabytes or you give the site 100 GB so that other sites are able to use the storyboards. Whatever it is you put in the manual storage limit, it's just telling SharePoint that this is the maximum storage for this site. Okay, so that's just what it's saying.
Thank you. I'm grateful. Thanks.
You're welcome. So if you don't have access to SharePoint, it means you have not been given permission. Okay, so the moderator will look into that. What is the retention period to retrieve a leavers doc? Okay. I'll say it depends, but most likely 30 days, because the other 60 days and above is not straightforward in terms of gaining access to it. It's not straightforward. You might have SAS going to PowerShell or going to the SharePoint admin and looking for orphan link. Okay, so I will just say 30 days. So if somebody leaves the organization and the person was deleted, you have 30 days to recover, to back up their file. After 30 days, you will not have direct access to the file, but the file is still accessible, but through some other means. But after another 30 days, you start getting 404. You start getting 404. And once you get that 404, at that point, the file is gone. There's no rollover or backup or anything. Okay. I think we can continue.
All right, thank you very much, Yomi. We had like 2 people's hands raised. before now, and I enable their mic. First person is Yadi. Yadi, you can unmute and ask your question before we proceed.
Okay.
Hello, ma. Can you hear
Hi.
me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I have two questions in regards to this SharePoint. Number one is you made mention that the SharePoint uses ASPS, JavaScript, and so on. So my main question here, does it mean that someone with the knowledge of SharePoint also knows about ASPS or JavaScript?
No, you don't need the knowledge.
Okay. How?
Okay, so let me give you this scenario. So it's like the I don't know whether you've seen a phone on a laptop, and you're told that this laptop was designed with special metals, and you don't know how to gather that metals together, but you can use the device or use the phone. So that scenario of ASPS JavaScript just telling you that SharePoint is being SharePoint renders its web page using this technology. Okay, but doesn't mean that you need to know it. It's just telling you that that's what SharePoint uses to pull data from the SQL Server database, and then you see it on your page.
Okay.
Okay, so like you can see everything I've been doing, showing us around on SharePoint page, SharePoint site. There's nothing like CSS or JavaScript or anything there. It's just simple what's it called? Click. I'm just clicking here and there. Okay. I'm just clicking here and there. But how is this thing showing? Okay, how does this show? That's where those things I mentioned come in. They are being pulled from database using those technology.
Okay. And the second question, in terms of SharePoint page, we have the communication site, the documentary library. Sometimes because I've gone through this SharePoint before. To be honest, SharePoint is a little bit complicated when it comes to sometimes I don't know how it goes. I'll just get confused. Where will I put the document library or the site? So I want you to please elaborate in details, step by step, the roles of communication site, the roles of documentary library, the roles of sites, and all those major areas. I want you to please elaborate them so that we will not get confused again about it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So that will be what we'll be doing right after the Q&A. Somebody is asking, is it possible that users in organization with the same license will have different storage? Yes, it's possible. Maybe Sherifa, the admin has been asking you for dates and you have refused. You can decide to give you 1 gig of storage, while others have 1 terabyte. Okay, so it's very you are laughing. It's very possible. It's very, very possible. You answered the admin now. and then you have your storage. Eh? Answer the admin, and then you have your storage. You don't know that admin have power. You'll be trying to access a site and you can't access it. You don't have permission. You know that they'll block you out. So nothing happens in SharePoint by default. Somebody did it. Okay, somebody did it. There's no two way to that. Okay, so yeah, so let's look at sites. Yes.
I think the rest of the question is that how do you fix that? So either how do you change story that's assigned to a user, or how do you modify the story assigned to a user? How do you reduce or increase it?
So you do that on the admin portal. Okay. So if you go to a user and you click on the user, with this user, and you go to OneDrive. Okay, so you can see this user's default. So this person even has 5 terabytes. Okay. If let's look for another person. Let's look at this person. So it's likely should have 1 terabyte, I think. So maybe I've set the default to 5 terabytes for the organization there. So that means this user so I've set the default to 5 terabytes for the organization. So let's edit this. So this is fine. That's the maximum for all users. But a user can go less. A user can be given less than that. So let's edit this, and then let's say, what should I give this user now? Okay, user doesn't even have anything. Let's give him 1 gig. Let's see if it allows. Forgotten the minimum, but let's see. So even though this user has the license requirements, okay, this user by license should have access to at least 1 terabyte minimum. And other users in the organization have 5 terabytes. He has been given 1 gig. Okay, maybe he's very stubborn. So he has been given 1 gig or OneDrive storage. Maybe he has been uploading movies into his OneDrive, so they want to block it. So they are giving him 1 gig. Okay, so to fix this scenario, just go to the active users page, click on the user, click on OneDrive. Okay, first look at what this is. Okay, because I can't come in and give the user 10 or what is it called? 10 terabytes. Okay, that's not possible because the maximum is by the organization's policy here, the maximum that the user can have is 5 terabytes. Okay, so I can give user maybe 1 terabyte. Let's give him 1 terabyte. That will be 1024. Save. Okay. So I believe that answers your question. Don't mind me. I'm trying to see I can cover something for our time. Should go out. So I believe I've been able to address all questions now.
Looks like it. We don't have any pending question.
Okay. So, why do I have creating sites? Oh, that's the objective. Okay. So let's look at SharePoint structure. So in SharePoint, we have what is called the core assets. And the core assets are sites, document libraries, and lists and site pages. So every other thing, we can see this is another site, and you can see everything is now being repeated again. Site, document library, list, site pages. So if you want to create again, continue from here, you have sub-sites, document library, list, site pages. So as you are creating a site, let's say this is your root site, which is resting on your communication site. And then within that, you have a team site, non-team site, team site, communication sites, blah, blah, blah. So as you're creating your site in your SharePoint, you have the option to add them in as communication sites or group or what is that one? Sites without a group. So these are the various options you have. But the point is that each of the sites, okay, that you create, so the SharePoint site you create has a structure, which is it has the option to have all of this. So this most times, or this is not available by default. That it is not it doesn't come with the site you create, but every site you create, you obviously have a document library, a list. In some cases, you may not have a list, but obviously you have a document library, and 100% you have a site page. Without a site page, you can't even see anything. For instance, the home page is a site page. Okay, so whenever you're working with SharePoint, just understand that this is the logic, okay, of everything that happens. Okay. Okay, so let's clean that out. So whenever we create a site, just know that within that site, you have the option to add a sub-site. Okay. The site already comes with a document library. The site already has a site page, or you have the option to add lists and sub-sites. So what is a site? Okay, a site is a collection of site pages. Okay, a site is a collection of site pages or site, to put it in SharePoint 10, site assets. And what are these assets? These are the assets. Okay, so a site is a collection of assets, and each of these assets are rendered in form of site pages. So what is a sub-site? A sub-site is simply a site in another site that will also have the ability to have its own structure, like what you have here. What's a document library? A document library is SharePoint option for OneDrive. Okay, OneDrive storage. So when we talk about file handling, it cannot be done outside a document library. Okay, it cannot be done outside a document library. Document library is what allows you to manage files, basically. Then you have in SharePoint, okay, you can create, collaborate, and do all of that with document library. List is SharePoint offering for you to create tabular data, rows and columns. Okay, so like when you have products, what is that? Price and quantity. So you have mouse is sold for 12 and you have 100. So if you want something like this in SharePoint, you need to get a list. Then your site pages is simply your web page, okay? Like your home page where you have different items. Then I'm using this page to summarize everything that is down here. So I will not be discussing some of the things that we have here. So within a site page, you have what is called a web part. Okay. Within a site page, you have what is called a web part. What is a web part? A web part is a web part simply refers to what is available on the site. So let's look at this. Let's say this is site. Okay, so this is site. So this is the navigation. This is like a slider, right? I don't know if a website still has sliders these days. And then you have like a news section. Then you have maybe like a footer here. Then maybe they have like a contact us or book a session or inquiry. So if you look at all of this, they all let me use this color. They all handle different things. So for instance, this navigation here is a web part. This slider here is a web part. This news session is a web part. This footer is a web part. This what did I call this one? A booking or inquiry session is a web part. So it's a site page is simply a collection of web parts. And web parts are individual features that provide specific functionality on a web page. Okay, they always have something that they provide. It's not just so everything that you want to display on your site will need to be available as a web part. If it's not available as a web part, say you want to go to SharePoint framework where you start building your own custom web parts. Aside that, it means that it's not possible or it cannot be done. Okay. So with this explanation, I've been able to look at site collection. Classic versus modern, simply talking about this is Microsoft old approach, and this is the new. So our focus in the lab will be entirely on the modern. Okay, we're working with the modern experience. So if you look at the screenshot below, you can see this is a SharePoint modern site, and this is a SharePoint classic site. Okay, this is classic, another way for old. I don't know if some of us had the word classical music. Then this is modern, so it has more intuitive experience. Okay, this is not usually user friendly. It's very old, but it's very robust. Okay, and offers more customization. But this is a modern site, very refreshing, but offers limited customization. And if you look at this site, this is a web part. This is a web part. This is a web part. This is also another web part. This is a document library web part. Okay, so that's modern versus classic. Then another thing is that a modern site is linked with a Microsoft 365 group, but a classic site does not have that option, and it's not possible to link it. So what is a Microsoft 365 group? I believe we are familiar with that. So when you create a SharePoint, it links that SharePoint with a group. So that group is usually a Microsoft 365 group, and that is how the permission for that site is managed. Now, a site can exist as a private site or a public site based on the group that was created. So if you create a group as private group, the site will be private. If you create the group as public group, the site will be public. And then people that you add to the site, you can either give them permission as owners or as members of the site. Aside that, you have SharePoint has its own custom groups. Okay, SharePoint has its own custom groups as well that allows you to do more granular activities, like the contribute permission level is connected with the member group, and then the full control permission level is connected with the owners group, and the read permission level is connected to the visitors group. We have other custom groups like edit. I've forgotten the other one. Okay, I think full control is there. Yeah, edit. I think it's edit. So we have edit, for instance, which is not in any of these groups. So, but these are automatically assigned when you have a Microsoft 365 group. Then you have the what is that called again? You don't have permission. Okay, which is an error that tells you that we cannot authenticate you, or sorry, we can't authorize you to access what you're trying to access. So you may have to request permission. Usually get like access denied. That means you're not authorized to access that resource. It's very common with SharePoint, access denied. Okay. It simply means your permission is not top notch. And permission is granular in SharePoint. Okay. So let's say if you have something like this, like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. scattered everywhere. You can give somebody permission to everything. Give another person permission to just this side. Give another person permission to all this side. And give one person only this side. So if the person that is only having this side is now trying to go up to a higher level, you will get access denied. Okay, so that's how that works. Okay, so I've explained document library and list. I've explained sites, web pages, and web paths to us, so we can stop today. So tomorrow we'll demonstrate all the jargons I've been spitting out, and we'll look at.
All right, thank you very much.
SharePoint cycle bin as well.
Okay. Thank you, Yomi Aledare. Thank you for coming. I have one a concern here. It says Messi says sometimes I get requests at work where clients ask for Microsoft Teams meeting recordings or attendance registers for specific dates they attended meetings. The Microsoft 365 admin team will then retrieve and share those files. I'd like to understand how this is configured. Is it managed within Teams itself or through SharePoint? Did you get my question? Did you get the question?
So if it's attendance register, that
Hello?
is. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes. Yes, the question is in the chat. You need to read through it.
Yeah, I get it. So if it's related to attendance register, then you get it from Teams. If it's related to the recording, okay, then you now ask the question if the meeting was held in a Microsoft 365 group, the recording will be available in the SharePoint group for that, the SharePoint site for that 365 group. But if it's like the one we're having now, the recording will be available in the person that recorded the meeting's OneDrive. Okay, so if somebody says, I need this particular recording, first you need to do is you go and check in the Teams admin portal, go to meeting details. You will be able to see details about the meeting, and from there you can also find out who is the organizer and assume that probably is the organizer that recorded the meeting, and from the organizer's OneDrive, they can go there and retrieve the recording. Okay, so I don't know if it's not. There's just how this is configured. So the configuration is more like it's default. Nobody changes anything.
Thank you very much. Yes,
nobody changes anything.
Thank you so much for coming for engaging this session tonight. I think with that, as of now, we don't have any pending questions. We don't have any pending hands raised. So I think with that, we can bring the session to a close if we are done with this session tonight. So everyone, please appreciate Mr. Yomi Aledare. It's actually really been great. It's been somebody who has always been available for us in the community. Let's thank him. Let's appreciate him. Let's appreciate him more. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. And let's also appreciate one another, because if you are here today, I congratulate you. I appreciate you. I thank you for always showing up. When this class started, the first day we had over 400 people joining, and then the numbers continued to dwindle. And up to now, like at this point, we have like 53 people on this call right now. So I want to thank you all for joining. Thank you very much. We'll be coming back again tomorrow, same time, and we'll also be having Yomi Aledare also continuing with where we have stopped today. Thank you, everyone, and we'll expect every one of us
And so let's try to be here early, because if you ask question when we have finished demolition, it might not be funny. So let's be here so that by 10 minutes into the class, we shoot into the labs. Then before you know it, we're done. Okay, thank you, everyone.